right, guys, so here is what we got going. Going to shoot a video for you covering auto insurance 101. And so we're going to go over all the coverages that auto insurance covers, what I recommend for your coverage, different things like that. We're gonna try to shoot these pretty short. We're gonna try to not make them very long. So let's get started. So the first thing is every state has minimum car insurance requirements, and it's usually liability insurance. Liability insurance is that's something you have to have in every state. And so what liability is if you hit somebody, if you're at fault, see if you can see this okay. Maybe. If you're at fault, liability pays for other persons. And here's what we got vehicle, medical payments, grief, loss of job, and if they sue you. So let's say you hit somebody at an intersection. You hit them, let's say you cripple the driver, and you cripple them and they decide to sue you. So not only do you have to cover their vehicle that you just totaled, you have to cover their medical payments. You're held liable for this stuff. If they want to sue you for grief that they've now suffered because you broke both their legs, whatever it may be, they lost their job because they can't walk anymore, and so now they're suing you for, let's just say, $1 million. They're suing you for $1 million. Now, if you know what the state minimum in Oklahoma is for liability coverage, is $25,000, $50,000, $25,000. This first number is medical payments. For each person in that vehicle. That $50,000 total cap amount that the insurance company will pay out. Total cap. That is it. That's the most they will pay out is $50,000. This last $25,000, property damage. So that's property damage. $50,000 is the total amount they will pay out. $25,000 medical payments for each person in that other vehicle that you just hit. So let's say they're suing you for $1 million. That doesn't cover it. You're coming out of pocket for the rest of that, whether it's garnishing your wages, your future wages. And that's the thing. People think that, I don't make enough money for somebody to sue me. That's not true. They can sue you for future wages and take something out of your check for the rest of your life, literally. And so this is what insurance is here for, is to make sure when this happens, you're at fault in an accident and you destroy their vehicle, they have medical payments and they sue you. That's what liability is for. So what I recommend is this here. That's the state minimum, 25, 50, 25. There are several coverage options, obviously, that you can get on an auto insurance policy. But as far as liability goes, I recommend no less than a $500,000 liability limit. Total cap. Total cap. That's what I recommend. And then on top of that, well, you say, well, that's $1 million. I still have $500,000. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's when your umbrella policy kicks in. And that's something we'll cover in a later video because this is just Auto Insurance 101. But liability is very important. It's cheap to get. And so jumping from 50, 150 or 25, 50, 25 to 100, 300, 100 or 250, 500, 250, we're talking $10 to $20 a month for peace of mind that if you hit somebody and you take somebody out, it's not on purpose, we know that, but they're going to sue you. They lost their job. They're not the same person they were before, and so you need good coverage. And so that's what liability covers. somebody sues you, that other person's vehicle, their medical payments, all that stuff is what liability covers. So if we go on and we go to medical payments coverage, and so the 25, 50, 25, and I don't want to confuse you or lose you here. So the 25,000 that was medical payments for each person, that's for the other party. Medical payment coverage is for you. And so usually what I like to do, so on MedPay, this is for you. I like to have at least $2,500. That covers most people's deductible. Some people have higher than that, and if they do, then we go up as we need to. And so what that does is that covers their deductible when they get admitted to a hospital in an accident. And so that covers your deductible, covers health, deductible. So what that covers. The rest of your medical payments, your health insurance should pick up. This is capped out now for you at $2,500. It's paid your deductible. And so now the rest of your health insurance, you're good to go on. So that's medical payments. If we move on to uninsured and underinsured coverage. And so we're going to label this UI, and that's uninsured, or UIM, and that's underinsured. So that's uninsured, underinsured. Okay, so in Oklahoma, this is what underinsured and underinsured covers. It covers your medical payments, and that's it. It doesn't cover it doesn't cover your vehicle. So say somebody hits you and you drive a $70,000 F-250 and they have state minimum limits, which is 25, 50, 25, like we just covered. That last 25,000 is all that they're paying you for your 70,000 3/4 ton King Ranch. And so now you have $50,000 that's just out there. And so that requires you to file a claim on your insurance if that happens. And so uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists in Oklahoma only covers medical payments. No property damage whatsoever, just medical payments. And so I usually put it at $5,100. And so somebody hits you, this is $50,000 per person, $100,000 total limit. Okay, so that $50,000, say it's you and your wife in the car in the truck, that $50,000 is going to cover you and your wife. $50,000 for you, $50,000 for wife. So it covers both you for $50,000. So your $100,000 limit is capped out now for you and your wife. And so, and if it's over that, that brings in litigation towards the other party that has hit you. But that's a brief summary of uninsured and underinsured. Not a lot to that. So moving on to collision and comprehensive coverage. So collision is exactly what it sounds like. You collide with something else. And so that generally requires you to be, for both parties to be moving. So another vehicle collides with you. It requires both parties to be moving. So comp, you're stationary, basically, and something natural hits you. Hail, deer, which if you're driving down the road and you hit a deer, that's a comp coverage. If you're driving down the road and you have a bad blowout, and it tears up your fender, all that kind of stuff, that's covered. So let's say blowout, deer, hail, let's see what else we got. A tree falls on it, tree limb, flood, if your car floods, all that stuff is covered under comp. Fire will be covered under comp. Getting shot up, covered under comp, except acts of terrorism are sometimes excluded, so you need to check that. But so collision, you collide with another vehicle or a person Comp is you cover with you encounter Mother Nature. Just think of it that way. Comp, Mother Nature. Generally speaking, Mother Nature, collision, other human. All right. So that's kind of insurance basics 101. And so here's my recommendations for you on your coverages. Recommendation is liability at 250, 500, 250. So this, remember what this first number is? It is medical payments. Medical pay for others. 500, remember? Total cap. That last 250, property damage. So, that's what I recommend on liability. Uninsured motorist, which is UIM and UI. We'll put that here. Let's make a line so we don't get confused here. Uninsured motorist at 50, 100, 50. There's no reason really to have it. Drop my lid. There's no reason really to have it dropped, to have it a whole lot higher than this, unless you don't have very good health insurance. If you don't have very good health insurance, then you know you need to up this. And here's the deal: you get in an accident, somebody hits you, and they're underinsured when they hit you. In the long run, your insurance company is going to litigate against them, and this just makes it a little more streamlined. It just cuts out a little bit of the hassle, and so that's why I do the lower limits. And by all means, if you wanted to match your uninsured motorists with your regular liability limits, more power to you. That's fine. That's what I do. But for the most part, 50, 150 is what we ride it at, just because this is usually kind of expensive. This is kind of an expensive buy. And so is comp and collision. And I forgot to mention on comp and collision, I know this is right in the middle of this. So higher deductible. Higher deductible, lower premium. So if you have a $500 deductible, it's going to be higher than a $1,000 deductible would be premium-wise. So the higher your deductible, the lower your premium is going to be, the lower your monthly payment is going to be. So now back to this. This is what I recommend. Comp and collision. I recommend a $1,000 deductible on collision. 1,000 collision. And I recommend a 250 comp. And the reason why is usually the comprehensive deductible is going to be, or the comprehensive claim. If you hit a deer, sometimes it's not going to total your vehicle. If a tree falls on, hail damage, it doesn't always, a windshield bust, whatever it may be, a tire blows. It's not as expensive usually as an actual car wreck. As you collide with another vehicle. And so what this does, let's say you have a $1,000 comp claim. I don't necessarily recommend making a claim at that point either, but this kind of gets your deductible a little lower for your comp. So you don't have to pay out of pocket as much, and something small can be fixed a little easier. Collision at 1,000, just because usually if you collide with another vehicle, it's more expensive to fix. Now, medical payments, I told you what I recommend on that. I recommend $2,500. Covers your deductible for your health insurance, and so on and so forth. Now, and there are extras, and I do recommend getting roadside assistance and rental reimbursement. Roadside and rental. I recommend that because let's say it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you have a blowout. You can't wake your husband up or you can't wake your friend up to come say, hey man, I need your help changing this tire, and you have to call somebody. So instead of having to pay $250 for a wrecker, you call your insurance company and say, hey, I had a blowout, I'm stranded on the side of the road, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about making somebody mad at 3 o'clock in the morning because you woke them up. Although, what kind of friend would that be, really, I guess. But so there's a few other things that we can add on to auto insurance policy. There's full glass coverage. Full glass is this. What that means is if it is a glass claim, it replaces your chipped or broken window without a deductible. No deductible whatsoever. No deductible on glass is what that means. So that's a good thing to have, because let's say your comprehensive deductible is $250, like we talked about. Average windshield replacement is going to cost around $200. So there's no reason to make a claim. If you have this, what it does, instead of having to pay anything at all, you call Cover Glass or Say Flat Repair or whatever. Say Flat Glass. You call them and they come and fix your windshield. They bill your insurance company. You don't have to pay anything. The car stays in your driveway. They fix it like that, and it's done. So I also recommend full glass as well. It's a very good coverage to have. Just for the sake of not having to pay $250 deductible out of your pocket for a windshield. So it's a good coverage to have. That's basically it. Auto insurance, there's not a ton to it. There are some exclusions that will be listed in your policy for different things, terrorism, stuff like that. But that's kind of the basics of insurance, car insurance. We're going to do some more videos of home. We're going to do some business videos. We're going to be putting out some content, so y'all stay tuned. Hit the like and subscribe button below, and stay following us. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.